All right, this is Vinny. Ooh, good boy. He is a very, very nice American quarter horse. I believe the owner's doing some reining with him. Could be wrong about that. She's not here today to verify, but this guy is a beauty. And I think this is the second time I've worked on him. And, you know, he's a little bit kind of concerned and seems a little bit more worried than Lady, who I'll work on after him. But he does a really good job of containing his nervousness and relaxing and letting me work on him. I just pulled off his blanket. He had a big blanket on him and a sheet on him. So he was kind of itchy when I pulled that off, and he loved his scratches. Can see the lips going. Oh, that's a good boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a good boy. Nothing wrong with building a little goodwill and rapport before I get started. I'm Vinny. Yes. Oh, there's a good boy. Always love their scratches once you take their blankets and their sheets off. Oh, buddy. Yeah. There's a good boy. All right. Hey, Cindy, good morning. Back at it again today. All right. So let's get him going here. A little late getting started this morning. Traffic was terrible. But that's all right. Just gives me more time to drink my coffee. All right. So first thing I'm noticing on him is he's a little tender at his right SI joint here. And you can see that because when I drag my thumb down his left side, there's no drop there. But when I drag my thumb down the right side, you can see his pelvis drop quite a bit there. So little discomfort at that SI, not terrible. And I wouldn't even say it's necessarily painful for him, because in order for me to get this response, I'm putting pressure directly over the joint, which doesn't happen when they're under saddle. Oh, that's a good boy. But it's little things like that that, if not corrected, will get worse, and then whoever is riding him will figure out that there's a problem. So that's why chiropractic is such a good idea, because we can get to these issues before they become a problem. And you know, we can correct issues that will improve their performance instead of trying to fix problems and, you know, issues with them being off and, you know, short striding or lameness problems or things like that. I'd rather focus on improving their comfort and performance than fixing issues. So chiropractic is definitely best utilized for maintenance, not to patch holes or constantly fix problems. That's a good boy. So like, people always ask me, you know, how do you know when a horse needs to be adjusted? Well, if you're waiting to know when a horse needs to be adjusted, it's too late. And the reason for that is, obviously horses are prey animals by nature, so they're going to hide their problems until they can't anymore. And if you have a performance horse that's doing that, and they're performing with these compensations going on, their performance is going to be decreased, and you'll never know it. You'll just think that that's how your horse is. That's the best they do. They feel fine, i.e. they're not lame, right? That's what people mean when, oh, he feels fine. It just means, oh, he doesn't feel like he's lame. He's not short striding. He's not off. He's sound, so he's fine. But if you're trying to get the most out of a performance horse and you're spending all this money to go to these competitions, then why not make sure he's fine instead of just making that assumption based on how he feels under saddle? And, oh, let me see if he can come touch here. Good boy. And I've had plenty of people even, you know, that will say, like, I'll have a husband and wife come to my booth and get adjusted, or they would come to my office and get adjusted, and the wife's getting adjusted, but the husband's not. And she'll say, hey, honey, why don't you get adjusted too? And he'll say, oh, no, I'm good. I'm fine. I don't need to be adjusted. And I'll just be like, well, hey, just lay on my table. Let me feel around, see if anything's going on. And then if there is, you know, and you want me to take care of it, I'll adjust you. 100% of the time, there's always something. You'll hit a spot and they'll go, oh, I didn't know that was sore. And it's the same thing with the horse. I didn't know their SI joints were sore. I didn't know they didn't want to rotate to the left. I didn't know they didn't want to flex their low back. You know, you don't know these things until you get specific and you really get in there and start to evaluate. So anyway, soapbox issue is, if you have a performance horse, don't wait until you know that your horse needs to be adjusted, right? Because by that point, it's too late. Good boy, good boy. It's all right, buddy. Lead rope kind of scared him a little bit. Good boy. So you can see with some horses, like Vinny here, sometimes they just need a minute, right? They get a little bit startled. Ooh, there we go. Nice release there. They get a little bit startled. I just kind of flung the lead rope a little bit, and you can see he gets a little bit startled there. And that could be because maybe, you know, with his previous owner or his trainer, or when he was started, they beat him with the lead rope, or, you know, they disciplined him with the lead rope. And now he's kind of scared of a lead rope flying around. Sometimes they'll be scared of my hat, so I'll turn my hat around or I'll take it off. But you just have to kind of pay attention to the horse that you're working with and give them the time that they need, so that, you know, they trust you and you can build that rapport and you can get everything done that you need to get done. So he's got a little indent here on his neck, which is obviously something that's old. So I'm gonna check his bicep tendon here. Feels pretty good. He's such a good boy. And he's so warm. It's a little chilly out here this morning. He's a heater. All right. Good morning, Laureen. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, if you guys could hit that thumbs up, that would be awesome. Good morning, Brooke. Yeah, he's one of the better looking horses that I work on for sure. Looks like a little surfer dude with his blonde mane. Hey, Chris, good morning. The back is sort of wrapped. What do you mean by that, Kurt? You should see their back is sort of wrapped. What does that mean? Are you ever in Florida? I used to be. And I would still come if there was a, you know, someone wanted to put a bunch of horses together. We just need veterinary referrals in Florida, so it's kind of a pain in the butt. Good morning, Stella. Well, it's probably not good morning for you. It's probably afternoon, I would think. All right. So whenever a horse comes around and they can rotate this easily and touch where I'm pushing, I'll show you here in a second. He's kind of figuring it out right now. So whenever they can do that and they can break over and rotate and drop and everything is nice and easy, then there's really nothing for me to do in their neck and pull, right? I'm not gonna make things up just so I can do some adjustments and impress the client, right? Because it's all about the horse. And if his movement, good boy, if his movement is perfect, like his is up in his neck, then there's nothing to do, right? And if somebody ever says, which they never have, like, you know, you didn't adjust a whole lot, it's like, well, that's great. Like when you go get your teeth cleaned at the dentist, do you want them to find a lot of cavities, or do you want them to just clean your teeth and go, well, your teeth look great today, we'll see you in 6 months? It's like, if you think about it, you don't want me to find a lot of problems. So when I come out and I evaluate a horse and he's moving like this in his neck, and that is absolutely perfect movement there, then there's nothing to do. Just move on to the next thing and be happy that you have a horse that doesn't need a whole lot here. Oh. And this is just ear sensitivity here. Okay, this isn't pain. I'm literally just resting my hand here, and he's throwing his head around. And it's only because I'm touching the base of his ears. And he's a sweetheart. So, like with a horse like him, what I would do is like a couple times a day, I would come out here and I would just rub his head and get him used to being touched up here. This is a case where I would have some treats with me, and if I could get, if I could rub his ears and get my hands up here, and he's got his head down like this, he's looking and chewing, then I would give him a treat, right? Because I want to start that that dopamine reward circuit, okay? So the fact that he's nervous about this, but he's letting me do it, that gets a treat, okay? So you never want to give a horse a treat when he's behaving poorly as a way to bribe him to behave properly. And that's what a lot of people do as a mistake is they go, oh, it's okay, here's a treat, here's a treat. Well, the horse gets a hit of dopamine, which starts that dopamine reward circuit, and he's like, oh, I'm supposed to do that because I got a reward and that feels good, and I want more rewards, so I'm going to be a dick again. So you never want to give a horse a treat as a way to bribe him into good behavior because you're just reinforcing the bad behavior. But if he's nervous about having his ear and his head touched, but he's, doing well and relaxing and letting me do it, then of course I want to give him a treat and get that dopamine going. So he's like, oh yeah, that feels good. I want more of that. So I'm going to keep my head down here. And eventually that will become ingrained into their brain, and they'll start to allow you to get up there and touch their ears and not react that way. Oh, Susie, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I wish I could help with the laminitis question. I don't have a treatment for laminitis because I'm not a veterinarian. I'm a chiropractor. So from my perspective, if a horse has laminitis, obviously they're going to be sore in their feet. So if they're sore in their front feet because they're laminitic, then it's my job to help them remain comfortable in the rest of their body while they're dealing with the laminitis, so that the vet can treat the laminitis and we're maintaining the rest of the body while they're going through that treatment. So, if I had a horse with laminitis, I would do acupuncture on him. Not me personally, because chiropractors aren't legally allowed to do acupuncture, but on animals, but we can do it on humans. Another soapbox issue. But I would find a veterinarian that does acupuncture, and I would have that done a couple times a week just to help maintain the healing process, get that inflammation out of there, and treat him as naturally as possible while he's going through the pharmaceutical route with the veterinarian. So, that's what I would do. I wish I had a better answer for you that was, something that you could give them, but unfortunately, that's just a veterinarian issue. So, I would find some vet that's specializes in laminitis or has had some some success with laminitis, and see what they do. But yeah, I think for laminitis, it's mostly you want to control their feed, reduce the sugar, that type of stuff. So get a really good corrective shoeing farrier. Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you so much again for that tip. I really appreciate that. What the indents mean on their neck? My horse has one. I have no clue what it's from. So Bailey, a lot of horses have what's called a Pharaoh's thumb, which if you look at the indent, it's really the shape of a thumb kind of pressing into the lower neck. And what that's typically from is when they're in utero, their hoof is sitting on the neck like this, like their arms are balled up, and the hoof print or the hoof is sitting on the neck, and that puts that imprint into the soft tissue while they're developing, and then it ends up just staying there. And a lot of people consider that a sign of good luck. So, if you have it, and what shouldn't cause any problems, they should move just fine. It really shouldn't be an issue. But if you have it, then superstitiously it's good luck. So that's usually what that's from. Good morning, us and our animal. Thank you for hopping into my live. Hey Jacob, good morning. Schwartz, good morning from Germany. I can never think of Schwartz without thinking of Spaceballs. May the Schwartz be with you. Hopefully I'm not. I'm definitely aging myself by that comment. Good year, good morning. Stella, hello from Italy. Wow. A couple of people from Italy. Thank you for watching. Good morning, Paula. Is that a quarter horse? Yes, that is a quarter horse. Beautiful quarter horse. Cindy, you're always laughing at me. Come here, buddy. All right. So let's get his front legs done. You can see he's kind of a squirrely little guy, right? Like he does really well at controlling it, but he's a little neurotic, just kind of always worried. So, you know, I would spend a lot of time with this guy, just rubbing him, making him feel good, you know, doing a little bit of massage, you know, getting him used to having his upper neck and pull touch like this. You see that? Like he's like, oh shit. So, you know, he's had a little bit of a rough start, I think. And now he's in a really good place with an awesome owner, takes really good care of him. So he just needs to, you know, build a little bit of trust with people, I think. But he's a sweetheart, and he is one awesome gelding for sure. All right, let's check his front legs here. Whoop. Yesterday was a busy day. I ended up having 10 horses to do. I thought I'd be able to go live a little bit more, but a couple of clients that usually aren't there when I work on their horses were there. So unfortunately, I was only able to go live on 2 of them. You can kind of see him going backwards. That's not because he's hurting. It's just because he's nervous. And the way I can tell that he's nervous is because when I start bringing the leg up, you start to get a tremble like this. If he's sore, what he's going to do is he's going to lean away from that pain. So for instance, if I'm pulling his leg up like this and it hurts him, what he's going to do is instead of flexing up, he's going to wing it out and lean his body away from me. And that's a pain response. The shaking is not a pain response. It's him going, okay, I'm going to have to pull this leg away any second. You know, he's kind of getting ready to pull it away, but he's not leaning away from the pressure. So it's not a pain issue, it's a brain issue. Wow, I think maybe I need to coin that term. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, that's a good boy. Pretty cool thing about the equine shoulder that's different from ours is there's no osseous attachment to the main structure. In other words, there's no bones connecting the shoulder to the rest of the body. Like for instance, we have a collarbone here, right? And the collarbone connects the sternum, which is the main part of the structure, to the scapula. Oh, that's a good boy. And we don't have that, or sorry. Collarbone connects our sternum to our scapula. And they don't have that. They don't have a collarbone. So literally they just have the shoulder here and it's attached to the scapula at the glenohumeral joint, which is the glenoid process of the shoulder. The glenoid process of the of the scapula, and the humeral head of the humerus, so glenohumeral joint. And that's just held together by a bunch of soft tissue. Even the scapula, which runs up here along the wither, does not have a bony attachment. It literally just floats on top of the rib cage. So when I'm moving their front leg all around like this, and I can hear people like my clients, if they're watching, you know, I'll hear them go, or oh my gosh, like they'll just make these comments like, you know, they can't believe their horse can move like that. Well, that's because they don't have a bony structure connecting the shoulder structure to the main structure via the sternum. And so that gives them a ton of range of motion, a lot more range of motion than we have. I do not service Alabama. Good morning, Shadow. Yeah, you bet, Bailey. No problem. So, you know, when I'm working on the shoulders like this, what I'm really trying to do is just stretch them beyond their normal range of motion, their active range of motion. And your active range of motion, if it's not clear by the term, means their range of motion that they do, that they put their shoulder through when they're moving under their own power. So if he was stretching himself, right? If you can think, if a horse is standing here stretching himself, what's their normal range of motion of that shoulder, right? It's a lot lower than this, right? They're not gonna move and bring their legs up this high. So the point of stretching them like this and getting their soft tissue nice and loose is that if they're able to come up this high when I stretch them, then their normal range of motion, their active range of motion, which is much less, will be a piece of cake. So I always stretch them much farther and much higher than they normally go on their own, so long as it's comfortable for them, right? If he's like yanking away and pulling away and giving me some pain responses when I'm stretching his shoulder, I'm not going to force it up through that pain. I'm going to stop before that pain, or try to see when that pain begins and then just go below that and allow him to stretch it out and work that out. But my goal is to get that shoulder as high as possible and get it really stretched out so that when he's going through his normal range of motion, it's a piece of cake, right? And then he feels amazing under saddle. He's not fighting you. He's going forward super easy. Everything's moving. It's nice and well lubricated, all that stuff. So good morning, Meridian. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love to teach, so that's amazing. Awesome. Thank you for the likes, guys. If you don't mind keeping those coming, maybe hit some shares. That would be awesome also. Can you explain how the shoulder angle impacts a horse's gait? What do you mean? What do you mean how the shoulder angle, what angle are you referring to there? Good morning, Nicholas. I'm great. How about yourself? All right, let's get his back legs done. Good boy. All right, let's see. Good boy. There's a little release there just with flexion. So on a neurotic kind of, he's not a scared horse, but he's a neurotic horse. You just want to take your time back here. Wait until he releases the leg and stops the shaking, because he's kind of shaking a little bit right now. Good boy. Oh, that's a good boy. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Oh, big deep breath right there. You know, and then when he works through that nervousness and he does so well, it's okay to give him some scratches. Tell him he's a good boy. Oh, he's a good boy. Do I stretch the back legs? Yeah, I stretch the back legs. My stretches for the back legs are typically into flexion. So I'll pick up the back legs and I'll kind of visualize bringing the fetlock up through the point of the hip. So I want it to be nice and tight, nice and flexed. I want everything to flex. I want to flex the fetlock, flex the hock, flex the stifle, flex the hip, flex the SI joint. Everything in the hind end I bring up into flexion. I don't typically stretch the hind end to the rear, because if you've ever stretched your horse's hind legs to the rear, there's really no stretch actually taking place, right? Like you can grab the leg and pull it back, and all the horse is gonna do is gonna kind of relax into that. Like if this is his hind leg, he'll bring that leg behind, and you'll kind of feel him just bring the leg behind, and the leg is kind of limp. You're not gonna bring that leg high enough and far enough behind them into extension to really get any type of good stretch. And you'll notice that if a horse is tight back there, they'll literally come out and they'll go, ugh, and they'll kind of stretch that out on their own. So I just stretch the hind end in extension, try to get that low back stretched, the hamstring stretched, the glutes stretched. All the muscles that are responsible for extension get stretched when you flex. So that's what I'll typically work on there. And I have a whole bunch of really good flexion stretches for your horse's hind end in my masterclass. And that's linked in the description if you're interested in learning how to do that. How does angle at which the shoulder is set affect the stride length, suspension, and overall movement efficiency of a horse? Well, I think what you're really concerned about there mostly is conformation, you know. You know, horses that are more narrow up front, meaning that their shoulders are closer together, tend to toe out, right? And then that can screw up the movement of the shoulder. Horses that are too wide will tend to toe in, and again, that screws up the movement of the shoulder because it changes the position of the humeral head and the glenohumeral joint. So, you know, you're not going to change the angles of the shoulders with an adjustment, of course, unless you're dealing with shoulders that are really, really tight because they've got spastic muscles causing internal or external rotation or something like that. But of course, the natural angle of the shoulder, you know, how they developed, of course, will definitely affect movement of the shoulders, and it'll affect their gait, of course. But most of the horses that I work with are pretty high dollar performance horses, and we don't really deal with issues with the angles of the shoulders like that. So it's really just dealing with mostly with the angles of the feet so that the shoulders aren't being affected by bad farrier work and bad hoof angles and stuff like that. Good morning, Tatum. Oh. Should I attempt to pull my shirt up again, Cindy? Good boy. All right, let's get this one done here. Good boy. He's a little stocked up and is around his fetlocks. That's a good boy. He feels super, super good, man. Oh, that's a good boy. Just nice and flexible, really easy to stretch him out. Oh, you bet, Darren. My pleasure. All right. Yeah, I can only really answer things from a chiropractic perspective. I mean, I can't answer it from a veterinarian perspective. But for me, you know, shoulder angles and stuff like that, it's all about their conformation and making sure that if you have a performance horse, that you've got one that is bred to do what you want and has a conformation that allows the horse to perform in that discipline the way he's supposed to. A lot of people buy horses. Good morning. A lot of people buy horses because they're pretty, or they'll buy a rope horse and go, oh, I'm going to turn this into a barrel horse. Well, good luck. Good luck. Good boy. All right. Sweet. All right, you good boy. Vinny is done. Such a good boy. I'm gonna leave all his blankets off for now. He's a American quarter horse, Nicholas. All right, and now we're gonna move over to his sister. Not really his sister, but you know, let me hang his halter back up here. All right, I think this is Lady. All right, I think this is Lady. Yep, here she is. And you can see she's all dressed up here. Got her big old cooler on and slinky and everything. Let me get her halter unclipped from her stall door here. Right. Can you move your butt, sweetheart? Oh, good morning. All right, come on, sweet pie. Good girl. There she is. There she is. See, you can see the mentality is a little bit different between her and Vinny. She's like, hey, what you doing? Vinny's like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Hi, sweetheart. So let's get, she's like, no, don't take off, don't take my blankets off. Here, let's move over a little bit so everyone can watch you get undressed. Sorry that it's her getting undressed, Cindy. Gotta unclip everything. So she's got this big cooler, right? This is a big thick blanket. And then this is just a sheet underneath. And always makes me laugh when I see horses, you know, dressed up like this. And, you know, but show horses, they keep them pampered. They keep them nice. They want to keep their coats nice and short. So they mess with the lighting and the stalls and everything. But it's like after you go work somewhere that's actually cold, like Illinois or Wisconsin or Michigan, and you see that they don't they don't have their horses blanketed at all, you know, and it's like 20 below zero out. And then you come to Arizona and these horses have, you know, multiple layers of blankets on and slinkies on because they don't want them to be cold. Kind of cracks you up. Good girl. But at the same time, I understand why they do it because, you know, they love the horses. Yeah, a warm doggy sweater. Hey, Gouda. Good to see you. All right. Can I get you dressed, sweetheart? Dressed with your halter. There we go. All right, let's move her booty. Oh, don't slip. Back. All right, so here's Miss Lady. You can see she's just a sweetie pie. Another really, really nice quarter horse mare. Yeah, so she's considered a red roan. You can see kind of she has like stripes down her sides. A lot of times these horses will be born as sorrels, right? Which is just as like a solid red, kind of how her face here is like a solid red, and then they'll roan out as they get a little bit older. But they're beautiful horses, really popular in the penning and sorting discipline, in the cow horse discipline. Good girl, good girl, good girl. All right. Thank you, Gouda. Yeah, get on him, Cindy. Don't let him get away without pushing that button. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we have 75 people in here and 29 thumbs up. Can we get a few more thumbs up from the rest of y'all? It would be awesome. Just tap that little thumbs up button for me. That would be so sweet. Oh, good girl. She's a little low on this left. She's got her right foot behind her. That's why she's a little bit low. Let's get her squared up here. Can't evaluate a pelvis unless their feet are square or just about square, because you'll get an improper reading. So she's high on the right hind, which means the SI joint on the right hind is stuck or restricted, right? So she's positioned on the right side like that right hind leg is coming forward, even though she's squared up in their hind feet. What you want is for the pelvis to be nice and level across when their feet are squared, because that would be the ultimate neutral position. So if her right side is stuck up and back, making this side high, as if that right leg is stuck in flexion, then this side would be the opposite and would be stuck in extension. So for her, I'm going to adjust her right SI joint into extension, the opposite way that it's stuck. And for the left side, I'm going to adjust it into flexion, the opposite way that it's stuck. Most people tend to focus on the high side, right? They'll go, oh, hi, sweetheart. Yes, ma'am. So they'll focus on the high side, and they could have a high side. They could have one SI joint that's stuck in flexion, which would make it the high side, because the opposite side of the other, the other SI joint is stuck the opposite direction, right? So the pelvis, oh, sweetheart, she just needs some loving real quick. Oh, good girl. So when the pelvis moves, right, when we're walking, we have the sacrum in the middle, which is like a triangular shaped bone, right? It's kind of a triangle. It's a triangular shaped bone. And then we have an ilium, which is the big round flat bone that's right here, right, where your glutes sit. And it's attached to the sacrum like this. So we have the sacrum and we have the ilium. So we have the sacroiliac joint right here, sacroiliac joint. So the leg would be down here, right? It'd be down here. So when I go up and back at the ilium, that leg is coming forward, right? So it's doing this, and then it goes down and forward into extension. So it's flexing and extending. And because our one leg is extending while the other leg is flexing, you know, you'll have one side go up and back into flexion, and then the other side is down and forward into extension. So if this side, let's say with her, let's say her left side is stuck down and forward, it would make the right side appear like it's stuck up and back, when in actuality, you're dealing with the restriction on the opposite side. Long story short is you can't just walk up and evaluate a horse visually and go, oh, she needs an adjustment on her right side because that right side is high. You have to motion palpate both SI joints and determine which side's the problem. But regardless of which side I think is the problem, I still adjust both sides just in the opposite directions that they're stuck or restricted. Banca Tio. I'm not sure what that means. I know Tio means uncle in Spanish. Yeah, she is hiding from the camera. Yeah, she's a sweetheart. Good morning, Alabama people. Hello, Kaya. Good morning. Benka. I don't know what Benka means. What does Benka means? Hello? What you doing back there? Oh, I know. You are silly. You are silly. Oh. You good girl. Oh, she's such a good girl. Sweetheart. It's amazing when you're working with a horse that's, you know, such an amazing performance horse, but they're also very, very sweet and well-mannered at the same time. Good girl. There you go. All right, her right foot's a little bit forward now, so I'm gonna put her back. There we go, square her up. That's close enough. And you can see, I don't know if you can see that, probably a little far away, but just by doing these flexion pressure points like this, so flexion, good girl, and extension, we had a little release back there, and now she's perfectly straight across the top. So sometimes just by hitting those pressure points that I also have in my Equine Masterclass, link in my description, you can fix a lot of these problems as well. Where am I from? I'm in Arizona, Kaya. How about you? 32 likes and 73 viewers. Come on, guys. Throw me a bone. Or throw me a like. That would be even better. All right, let's get her back. Hey. No, ma'am. So this is a pressure point on the sternum. And if a horse isn't going to like this, it's going to be a mare, unless it's a gelding with ulcers. But usually, not usually, but the mares can oftentimes just be like, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Oftentimes the mares can just be like, nope, no touchy the sternum. Beautiful. Very nice movement to the left shoulder. Let's check her to the right. Hey, up. There you go, good girl. Boom, perfect. So you can see, like, if I have my leg here, some horses are just gonna wanna kind of snuggle you and scratch their faces on your leg and whatever. But also other horses can kind of be sneaky, and they'll kind of put their head down by your leg and then kind of take a little nip out of you. So you gotta be a little bit careful, but she's a sweetie. You can see the way she moves to the right is a little more wonky, scientific term, than she moves to the left. Watch to the left. Beautiful, right? Nice and easy, nice and smooth, not herky-jerky. But when I ask her, look, even when I get into position, she's like anticipating that something's not gonna feel good, right? She's kind of concerned, brings her head over. So I want her head up, and then we'll get her to come around. See, it's just like she kind of rotates and then stops and then kind of yanks her head over. That's not good, so I'm gonna work on that side. Algeria, wow. That's pretty awesome. I haven't had anybody watch from Algeria, so thank you. Herky-jerky, that's right, herky-jerky. What's the diagnosis? Herky-jerky to the right. So I'm gonna see if I can figure out where that herky-jerkiness is coming from and see if we can't get her moving a little bit better this direction. Good boy. So you can see when I move her over just a bit, you can see when I break her over at the pole, which is lateral flexion at her pole, very easy, right? She's not fussing there, no big deal. So we'll just move down, see if there's any areas that are uncomfortable on her, maybe some bicep. Look at that. So we got bicep tendon pain there. Let's see. Yep, right there. Woo! See that? So we got some bicep tendon pain on that right front. Look, and nothing on the left, right? Perfectly comfortable. Actually likes that, look. So we definitely have our issue, right? Bicep tendon. So bicep tendons get sore when they're overusing the front end and not driving off their hind end. And so instead of pushing off the hind end to come forward, what they'll do is they'll dig in with their front feet and they'll pull. And you can see, like, this is the work of the bicep, right? And if I do this, right, I'm pulling myself forward. You can see how much that would work that bicep tendon, and it just gets overworked. They develop a little tendonitis and it gets sore. So the way that you can help your horses with that is by backing them up. You know, before you get on them, just throw a halter on them and back them up. Rack them up a little bit, bring them forward, back them up, bring them forward. Get them to use that hind end, get them to fire the glutes first, which is the primary extensor of the hind legs. Get that firing pattern corrected with some backing, and then get on them and work them and go do whatever you want. And you'll see a huge difference by doing just that. So I'm just going to do a little trigger point stuff here, a little cross friction massage, try to get this worked out a little bit. And then we'll recheck that movement to the right. And you can see how she's kind of zoning out. And that's what happens when you get on the right spot. They just will freeze up, just kind of stare out into nowhere. That's a good girl. All right, so you can see that, right? Now there's no twitching there. She's actually enjoying that like she was on the other side. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Let me get a little bit better view of that. So we took a spot on her that was hurting and turned it into something that she's enjoying, huh? Let's see. Right? So she's no longer trying to come around and bite. On the contrary, she's like, oh yeah, baby. Oh, that's a good girl. That's the best, right? When you take a spot on a horse that's hurting and you turn it into something that actually feels good, especially on a sweet mare like this one. Oh, let's give you some scratches, huh? Yeah, that feel good. How do you get a horse to let you adjust them? How do you get a horse to do what you want? Oh, you build a little rapport. How do you build a rapport? You make them feel good, right? They get scratches, they're feeling good. They're like, oh, baby, I'll let this guy do whatever he wants. That's what I'm after right there. That's beautiful. I love that. She's a sweet pie girl. She's like, hey, where are you going? All right, let's see. Hello, Vanessa. 2S osteopathy. Are you an osteopath? No, I'm a veterinarian. I'm a chiropractor. All right, let's recheck that movement to the right. Boom. Beautiful, right? If you can find the spots and it makes sense with how she's moving, you can correct these problems right on the spot. That was beautiful. All right, let's bring her leg up here. Oh my goodness. That was a release of her glenohumeral joint, so her shoulder joint. And that was the sound of relief right there. Holy smokes. So a big release right there. I'm just going to give her that for a second, and then I'll check her internal and external rotation as well. So whenever they have a big pop in the joint like that, that's the sound of gas releasing, nitrogen gas releasing from inside the synovial joint capsule. So a synovial joint is just a joint that's surrounded or encapsulated by a synovial capsule. And inside that capsule is synovial fluid. And inside that synovial fluid is a nitrogen gas bubble. So if their shoulder is restricted, if the muscles around the joint are tight, it tightens that joint capsule. And when you stretch the shoulder, right, you stretch that joint capsule beyond where it can maintain that nitrogen gas bubble, because there gets to be so much pressure built up inside that joint capsule. You stretch that shoulder beyond where it can maintain that nitrogen gas bubble, and you'll get that big pop. So that's what you heard. But when that bubble pops, that gas is released and it lights up a whole bunch of mechanoreceptors inside of that joint capsule, and those mechanoreceptors send positional information to the brain, which the brain loves, which causes a release of endorphins, and you'll get this big release, right? You'll get the head to drop, the deep breaths, the licking and chewing, the yawning, the eyes flipping, the ears going flat. Like, look at her position. This is a parasympathetic resting and digesting position, because that felt really good to her. The brain loves it, right? The brain loved that release of that proprioceptive information, right? That information that goes to the brain, that tells the brain the positions of the joints and the positions of the muscles in space. And she's like, oh, baby. So I love to see right there. It's like her, look, see? There's the yawn. So it's like her body is just going, oh, yes, thank you. And it's, when you get those releases like that, it's just amazing for mechanical reasons, right? Biomechanical reasons, neurological reasons. It's great. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, there goes another release in that shoulder. This time in extension. Good girl. Good girl. Oh. So imagine you get big releases like this in the shoulder, and how much better they're gonna move because of it. It just makes such a huge difference. Oh, good girl. Good girl. You can use your lips, but we're not gonna take any little pieces, okay? Good girl. Woo. Right. Whew. This is a strong, strong mare. Yeah, that flexion release was deep. Deep, deep, deep. Yeah, you'll tend to find that, usually, their issues are one-sided. They've got their dominant side and their weak side, just like we do. And a lot of times you'll find that if you've got one issue on the right side, for example, you're likely to find more issues on that same side, especially with certain disciplines, right? Because, holy moly. Wow, getting some huge releases in her front legs. Whew, I know, that was nice, huh, baby girl? Oh, man. Be interesting to see what we get in the hind end with everything being so locked up front. Oh. Hey. Oh, there you go. That was nice too. So you can kind of see like what their mannerisms are like, and good girl. And they'll kind of check you out. Like when they're relaxed like this, when they kind of bite and nip, they're not being nasty. They're just being curious, and they'll use their lips and kind of roll their lips around you and kind of check stuff out. They're using their whiskers to kind of figure out what it is. And, what they'll do is they'll go from like a smelling to a, what's that? To a really, what the heck is that? To like to take a little nip, because they're just trying to figure out what it is, Like, she's not being nasty, she's just being a horse. But at the same time, you can't let him can't let him take the bites. No, I see her about every 2 months. Sometimes she ends up going to 3 months because of show schedules and stuff, but she's just a big mare. She's just naturally tighter, so she needs to be adjusted a little bit more often. But you can see her head position, it's way below the withers. This is a very relaxed position, so a very parasympathetic position. Parasympathetic is the part of the autonomic nervous system that controls the bodily functions of resting and digesting. And that's the position that her head would be in when she's eating, right? When she's grazing, the head is down below the withers. And if she was nervous or scared in that fight or flight, her head would be up. You would see sympathetic body language, head up, ears back, right? Eyes wide, those types of things where she's nervous. And, you know, when their head is down like that and, you know, that's how she wants to stand, that's a really, really good thing for a horse because that's where healing occurs. Healing does not occur when they're in a sympathetic state. So you want them to be as relaxed as possible. That's a good girl. Got her stuck in a yawning loop here, which is what I love to see. Let's check her back legs here. Good girl. Ooh, there's a nice little release there. So when I'm about to do an adjustment, I don't want her head to be down and low like that because, oh, wait. Good morning. Oh, I'm just hiding in here, making some videos.
I have a question to ask you.
Sure.
I know you're really busy, but my horse, which has never done this before,
Yeah.
when I go put the halter on, he stretches.
Making videos. Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking it's
It's either a hyoid problem or a TMJ problem.
So
I would have a dentist come out and check his teeth.
well, you just had the teeth cleaned.
By who did it? A veterinarian?
Yeah.
I would have an equine dentist come out.
Oh.
And that's just out of you know, personal experience, seeing how the teeth look after most vets do them versus how an equine dentist will do them.
Yeah, because she's always done his teeth.
Yeah.
It's been probably almost a year. You know how time flies.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gotta
So
be
it
at
might be
least a
due.
year.
And teeth are the primary thing that cause problems with the hyoid.
Okay.
So anytime you see a horse playing with the bit, doing a lot of stretching, you know, if they're holding their head out to the side, or playing with the tongue, like that's all hyoid related, which is caused by tooth problems most of the time.
Would it continue on if he had a bit in his mouth? Because he stops. Once I put the halter on, he stops.
Yes, if he has a bit in his mouth, a bit could be.
Forget no bit, just the halter on. Would he stops.
He stops when he has a halter on?
I'm just trying to think. He's like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of guessing right now without looking at him, but.
I mean, I gladly let you look. I know how busy you are.
Yeah, I can't because I've got appointments to get to, but just
like that.
The yawns are fine.
It's not just a yawn. As soon as I go in there to put the halter on, he goes,
Huh.
Then he tries to bite me.
And then he stops?
Which he never does. But once I put it on, he stops.
Okay. Well, I mean, that could just be him kind of getting ready to work.
Oh.
You know, if he's just kind of giving it, like stretching a little bit, that could just be him getting ready to work, like he knows it's time to work. And so if he was doing it a lot, or once you put the bit in the mouth, he was like playing with the bit a lot and doing that type of stuff, I would be a little bit more concerned. But if it's just a quick thing and then he stops, I really wouldn't worry about it.
Okay, but where would you get a equine dentist?
I have a couple I can send to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before you, I'm just down here, so you'll see me.
Yeah, I'll come grab your number and send you their info.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
And then I know you're really busy. I probably at one point should get you to do an adjustment on them.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm here for these two every 8 weeks, so I'd be happy to add you to the schedule. Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, sounds good.
Great, thanks.
My pleasure. Whoa. All right, let's get this right hind done. So we had all those releases in the shoulders. And we got that big release in the hock on that left hind. Let's see what we get on the right. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Woof. Imagine how much better she's going to move after all of that. It's awesome. All right, let's get her, check her jaw, check TMJs, see how she's chewing here. Teeth look great. She's got some little baby canines in there. Mares don't typically have canines, and if they do, they're really small, just like hers are. Sometimes you'll see those canines starting to erupt, and they're literally right up against the incisors. And I think it's always a good idea just to have the vets take those out, because you'll see them kind of get irritated and they'll be red and uncomfortable, and then the horses will get issues with their TMJs and hyoids just because of the inflammation in the gum. Good girl. And she's moving really nice in the jaw. Super comfortable there. My girl, you are all done. That's beautiful. She's such a good horse. Gouda disappeared. Oh my gosh. Yeah, very different from Vinny for sure. Thanks, Molly. Yeah, it's super rewarding. It's awesome to be able to help them. The horses you help or care for often this calm. Yeah, I would say most of the horses that I work with are pretty calm, just because they're always being worked with. They get a lot of exercise. They're handled on the daily, ridden 4 or 5 times a week, and they're just used to people working with them. But some of them are just a little bit more special than others, like Lady here. Hello, Forrest. I'm good with that. Tekla, definitely good with that. Man, that lady can be dangerous, because she will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. It's happened plenty of times before. And she always says, oh, I should have you come out and work on my horse. Oh, next time you're out, I'm going to add my horse to the schedule. It's like the 3rd or 4th time. So I'm like, okay, I'm sure you will. Vicky, hello. Larissa, hello. All right. Well, I gotta get out of here. I got 3 horses to do at my next stops, and I'm about 15 minutes behind schedule. So I'm gonna roll out of here. I gotta put all of her cold weather gear in her stall bag. There we go. Sometimes people want their horses redressed when I'm done, but it's not really my job. So I'm gonna put the blanket and sheet back in her stall bag. And then I'm gonna try to escape the lady. Don't judge me. If she needs the dentist info, I'll text it to this client here, and then I'll just have her send it over. So, gosh, I know I'm such an a-hole. All right, let's see. Let me grab my iPad wherever oh, did I leave my iPad in the stall? I bet I did. Oh, nope, I see it. It's on the trash can. Uh-oh, I better be quiet. It's about 50 degrees, I would say, Cindy. Something like that, 50, 55. It's pretty nice. And it'll, oh. I think I'm gonna make it. And the sun's out, so there's a little breeze, so I know, moving like the wind. Yes. All right, awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of you guys that hit that thumbs up for me. I really appreciate that. Still a few more seconds left. If you guys can help me get to 50, that would be awesome. But I think many of you have probably already hit that like button. But I'm gonna head. Hope to see you on my next one. And it's hard to schedule them out and let you know when I'll be live because it just depends on my clients. Oh, thank you. Come on, 4 more. Can we get to 50? We can get to 50. Come on, 4 more likes would be amazing. If we can get to that nice round number. 3 more, 3 more. I've got 2 more. I've got 3 horses to do at my next stop, and I got 1 horse after that, both of which will have the clients there. So I won't be able to go live, I don't think, anymore today, but I might do some I might go do some lives, just some Q&A type of stuff when I'm all done working, just to answer some questions. And I've never really done that before. Usually when I'm live, I'm working with horses, because nobody wants to see me, they just want to see the horses, right? So come on, 50. Can we get 1 more? I'm seeing 49 people and 49 likes. Is there 1 more person? 1 more. Can we get 1 more? 1 more? I'm gonna start creeping out towards the driveway. See if we can get to that magic number before I pull out of here. We got 58 people watching and I see 49 likes. Can we get there? Tekla, you have a wonderful day also. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it so much. Oh, there it is. We got 50 and 50. Thank you, guys. Love it. I hate it. I can't even say that. I was like, hit it and unhit it. I don't even want to go there. Not with you guys, especially not with you, Cindy. Pfft. I'll be paying for that one forever. 51. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna end the live so I can be a nice, responsible driver. But appreciate you guys being on my live. Look forward to seeing you on my next one. Have a wonderful day. Bye, y'all.